Many people describe Nepal as a place where they feel connected to something greater, whether it's through the spiritual practices of the locals or the breathtaking view of the world's tallest mountains. I believe many people like myself want to find that profound connection in the grand scheme of things through hiking in the Himalayas. Before trekking in the Himalayas, our journey starts by landing in Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal. Visiting Swayambhu Temple is one of my bucket lists. As one of the oldest UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Kathmandu Valley, the temple attracted many Buddhist and Hindu-like pilgrims to pay homage due to its rich history and mythology. Even the monkey is considered sacred, believed to be connected to the Manjushri Bodhisattva and the monkey god Hanuman in both Buddhist and the Hindu beliefs. That is why some of the locals call it the Monkey Temple. The site can be traced back to the 5th century and possibly even earlier to the Mauryan Empire back in the 3rd century BCE. There's a deep bond between Swayambhu and the Kathmandu Valley. The story said that the valley used to be a massive lake until it was drained by Manjushri Bodhisattva or Lord Krishna, creating the Kathmandu we see today. Just a 20-minute drive from the airport, I had to swing by Durbar Square, another one of those cool UNESCO sites in the city. One thing I really looking forward to was meeting the living goddess. Once chosen as a goddess, she'll spend her entire childhood in Kumarigar as a home to be worshipped. To always stay pure, she could only leave the house for big festivals, and her feet were not allowed to touch the ground by any means. She would sometimes appear from the highest floor window accompanied by her guardian to see or to be seen by her devotees. You could easily immerse in the activities of Durbar Square for a decent amount of time, watching people give offerings to the Kaubarav statue, did the local kids having fun without the care of the world, and locals jamming out folk songs in the background. It really gives you a feeling of experiencing Durbar Square in its pristine state. Pashupatinath Temple is often regarded as the oldest and the holiest place in the Kathmandu Valley. This site is dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva in his form as Pashupati, which directly translates to the protector of animals. Located just beside the Bagmati River, there has been a religious foundation here at least from the 5th century BCE. You will often see many monks scattered around, busy preparing offerings for various rituals. This temple is also very well known for its cremation process. The whole ritual was done openly in the public, whether one is a casual observer like me or a committed pilgrim, have to keep our distance to respect the rituals for the deceased and their families. Many Hindus choose this site for cremation so their bodies will be purified, by the sacred water of Pashupatinath. Before I set off in the Himalayas, there's one last thing on my list. Offering my prayers at the largest Buddhist Stupa in Nepal. Every day, hundreds of practitioners circumambulate around the Stupa. For me, I just wish for a safe journey ahead in the mountains. Pokhara city is just a 30-minute flight from Kathmandu. If the weather's clear, you can see the beautiful view of the Annapurna mountain range from Deurali. Something cool we stumbled upon in Pokhara was many street musicians and dancers performing to celebrate the upcoming Nepali New Year. I really wish we could have stayed longer to be part of these traditions. To go into the mountains, we had to endure a very bumpy 3-hour car ride to Jhinu Danda. Luckily, we had some motion sickness pills to help us out. By the time we reached the drop-off point, we have to cross a suspension bridge to reach Jhinu Danda village. This is one of the infrastructures I truly appreciate. A span of 287 meters long and at least 100 meters above the ground. It is the longest and tallest suspension bridge in the Kaski district. Thanks to this engineering, we made it to Jhinu Danda village with just a 15-minute walk. I feel pretty good that we'll be staying in lodges as we make our way up to the base camp. These lodges usually have a dining space, comfy beds in the dorm rooms, and all the facilities we need. In the mountains, it can't get any more comfortable than this. On the first day of the hike, we'll trek for at least 8 hours to the next lodge in the bamboo village. When we start to see cows wandering around, we know we are on the right path to the Chomrong village. From here, it's pretty common to see grown people using horses or donkeys to carry goods around. Many of them also run a small rest house where hikers can grab a bite to eat or a drink. You can already see the view of the snow-capped mountain from afar, which makes the village a frequent stopover for trekkers on the road to the Annapurna sanctuary. The Gurung people embrace a religious blend of Don or Tibetan Buddhism. Thanks to this cultural influence, the architecture we encounter infused the village with vibrant colors. How many times we have stopped to snap photos, interact with the Gurung people, and get a glimpse into their peaceful everyday lives. After our afternoon break, we feel the rain is coming. It is rather cold under the rain and strong wind, so it will be best to wear proper raincoats and windbreakers. It's kinda surreal to feel so peaceful while hiking in the rain. We finally reached Bamboo Lodge, where we will crash for the night. Thanks to the rain, it's already very freezing at this lower altitude, so I'm taking up a lot of warm drinks to prepare for more freezing weather. Most of the lodge until up to the base camp will serve similar food to keep you warm and stuffed. While getting to much higher altitudes, you will only be served vegetarian food as part of the local traditions to respect the mountains.
From here to Himalaya, 3.5.
大家就多喝一点水啊，多喝热水啊什么的。
The trail will only get colder from here, so it's better to take some time to warm up properly. Today's hike will be a bit shorter than yesterday. We can reach the next lodge in under 6 hours if everything goes smoothly. We can finally see the iconic Machaputri Peak, also known as the Fishtail Peak. I heard that no human has ever climbed the summit due to religious reasons, making its peak among the least visited places in the world. We'll soon pass by the Dowan village, which was built after the 1970s due to the demands of tourism. The trekking trail beyond Dowan will be considered very sacred to the locals, as no livestock or any meat is allowed to go further from here. While trekking through a shaded pathway, the sound of the waterfall was getting louder, until we reached a religious site with a view of hundreds of cascading waterfalls. This is the spot where locals conduct religious ceremonial offerings every June or July. It would be waste not to stop by here and rest for a while. I always believe that showing respect for the mountains will ensure a smoother hike ahead. We slowly climb up to the Himalaya checkpoint, which is where we'll have our lunch break. It is surprising to find a cafe with a coffee machine at this altitude, selling many types of coffee. It makes you wonder how much effort went to carry this thing up here.
Oh, thank you.
They say the snow is dry, it's not wet yet.
The trail starts to get steeper, but it's still manageable. Just like how we predicted, the weather is turning rough again and the temperature is dropping a lot. Hopefully, we'll reach the Deurali lodge before the heavy rain hits. Despite the cloudy skies and the light rain, we can't resist to keep on stopping to appreciate the serene landscape view of the snow-capped mountains. Once we reached the Deurali lodge, it started to snow unexpectedly. Despite April typically marking the onset of the spring season, to experience snowfall here in Deurali is really out of our expectations. Words can't capture the feeling of witnessing my first snowfall in this breathtaking place. Trekking from Deurali to Annapurna base camp is only around 7 kilometers, but it will be a very challenging part, especially with the freezing weather and all the snowy tracks. That's why we need to gear up with our crampons to help us trek through the slippery terrain. The recent avalanches has closed off a part of the usual track to the base camp, which means we have no choice but to take the alternative. However, this path is longer and more narrow compared to the usual trails. Not sure why, but I actually feel lucky that we have the chance to use it. It is the first for most of us trekking in the snow. Seeing snowy terrain truly brings out our inner child. After passing the avalanche area, we trekked alongside the river alley to Matrapuche base camp. Normally, at this time of the year, the landscape will be full of dry vegetations, but the mountains have decided to surprise us with an unexpected gift of this beautiful white landscape. Well, the trail is so beautiful under the bright sun, but it's not without its risks. That is why sunglasses are very important to protect our eyes, as the reflection of the UV light of the snow can cause serious snow blindness. Machaputre Base Camp will be our last checkpoint and the place to have our lunch before reaching to the Annapurna Sanctuary. The trek from Machaputre Base Camp to Annapurna Base Camp will be one of the highlights. When seeing the clouds getting thicker, I have a feeling that today's snow will be much heavier than yesterday. Trekking through the blizzard just feels different. Every breath feels short and icy cold, and every time the cold will seep into your feet when you stop for too long. To avoid the chance of getting frostbites, we have no choice to keep on moving to stay warm. Under this blizzard, we finally see our end goal.
Excuse me, yes, come on, follow me.
It has snowed non-stop for the past few hours, so tonight's cold will undoubtedly give us a hard time to rest. Until now, it's hard to believe we are facing such a heavy snow during the April spring season. Right now, we can only hope for good weather tomorrow to see the Annapurna mountain range. It's only 6 in the morning and many people have gathered at the viewpoint. The crowd waited in the cold just to witness the first light casting on the snow-capped mountains. Annapurna 1 is one of the huge giants that is higher than 8,000 meters. This mountain is so dangerous to climb. It was said that the death rate was even higher than Mount Everest, or even the highest among all the 8,000 peaks. While I'm standing above 4,000 meters, watching the golden light shining on the roof of the world, making all the journey and unpredictable weather all worth it. After a quick breakfast, we'll take 2 whole days to hike down from the base camp to Jhinu Danda. Whereas some of the hikers will choose to take a helicopter down to Pokhara, which will cost them a minimum of $2,000 for one helicopter. For me, I'll rather hike down and take my time to enjoy the last 2 days in the mountains. Hiking down to Machaputre Base Camp in the morning, the stunning view of the trek just gives you a feeling of celebration. Yet my mind still wanders back to the time spent at the Annapurna Base Camp. The most memorable part of the journey was meeting 2 free spirits at the base camp, playing in the snow without a care of the cold. They remind me of the good times I felt while experiencing new things and capturing every moment. Perhaps sometimes it's not about finding that greater connection, but to be fully present and flow with the process. After all, in the end, it's the process that truly matters.